Hey guys, well, this time today we're in the kitchen and we're going to work on fixing this Kitchenaid fridge. So currently the fridge works great. The freezer compartment works great. The refrigerator compartment works great. However, it leaks water down into the refrigerator portion of the fridge due to the defrost mechanism in the freezer compartment getting frozen up. So the way these things work is that inside the freezer compartment here you've got a defrost function, and at the back there, behind behind that wall, there's actually a little defrost mechanism that defrosts the coils every once in a while, and water is then supposed to drain into a tube down through to the bottom of the fridge to a collection tub at the bottom of the fridge in the back, where that water naturally just evaporates. So that's how these fridges, and in fact all modern fridges for the most part that are auto defrost, which I think all of them are these days, that's how they work. Well, in this case, this one, that little tube that runs down from the freezer compartment down where the water is supposed to drip, it just freezes solid and gets plugged up. So we're gonna rip this stuff out of here and see if we can fix it. So hey, let's get after it. Okay guys, well the first step is the obvious bit, just to get stuff out of here. So this one's got an automatic ice maker, yours may or may not. Just remember to lift this up when you're working on it so it doesn't try to make all ice cubes as you're working on it. We're gonna unplug this thing as well. There we go, crap. Just dump those into the sink. Get the tray out. That comes out. There's the tray out of there. Now we can get this out of here. Just moves to one side and then lifts up. There we go, kind of like that. Get that out of here. Okay, next up, I think we're going to take those couple of screws out here. So it's all got to come out. So the order here doesn't matter too much. Now a person could, of course, unplug it first for the purposes of filming, keeping the light on. I'm going to just leave this on for right now. Set those aside. I have a little container here that I put everything in. It's magnetic, so yeah. So that's what we're going to do with all the stuff that we take out. So lose a few more random ice cubes in this thing. Get them out of here. I think we're going to take the ice maker out next. There's one little screw back there. It's a little bit painful to get up, but we will get it. It's kind of blind there. You're going to feel your way for that one. Alright, there's that off. There we go. Ice maker's out. There's our ice maker out of there. Okay, good. Let me just show you a little bit closer up here. So if you can see right down in this area here, you'll see all that ice. You see it's just frozen in there, so that's what's holding this thing down. So of course this is plastic, we need to be a bit cautious, but that's part of the problem. Okay guys, so we've now unplugged it. We're allowing the it to go and actually defrost a little bit naturally here, just with the plug off. We're also going to use some hot water. But while we're doing that, I've taken the back off as well, because we're going to need to work this from both ends. So we're going to defrost it at the top, but then we're going to come down here and you'll notice there's the drain tube. So I've just taken the back panel off here. It's just a few sheet metal screws and a sheet metal backing that's on there. So took that off, and that right there, right here, is our drain tube, and this is our collection tray for the water. So the way these things work is when they defrost, the defrost up in the freezer compartment kicks in. It will then, ideally, what's supposed to happen is water is supposed to go down into a little drain and drip through this tube, sit in this little collection area, and then naturally evaporate over time. and that's how these things work. Now in this case, that is plugged, okay? That's plugged with ice, maybe plugged with some debris as well, but that's what we need to work on. So that's what we're going to do. So the next step now is a little bit of time to let the freezer defrost naturally, because it's just frozen solid right now. Once that's done, then we can start working on it a little bit more. Okay, guys, we're back at it. So what I did is I mixed up quite a bit of table salt. I would say probably, I don't know, what would that be? I don't know, say I don't know, an eighth of a cup of table salt, like a lot of table salt up to here, something like that, as well as some hot water, and I just poured it over the back here, and it's literally been, this thing was rock solid. Left it literally 2 minutes, and look at that, she's completely loose. So I'm gonna put you back up on the tripod here so I can get two hands on that thing, and we're gonna pull it out. Okay, guys, we're gonna pull it out now. So let's get after it. Yeah, let's just get this whole thing out of here. Have to weave our wires through the sheet metal here. Being careful not to cut them on the sharp sheet metal, or cut ourselves either way. So let's just get this out of the way. Alrighty. Okay, now we can actually see what's going on here. So let's let me get you off the stand and let's take a look at this together. Okay, so now we've got the back of the fridge apart. We have the wires here dangling for our, ice cube dispensing tray. This is where the water would come out for the ice cube tray. And you'll notice down the bottom here is all of this ice. Look at this, tons of it, okay? And there is a drain down here that is clogged up that we need to, get all that ice out of there, get this fully defrosted. And what happens, as you can see here, this is actually venting that goes into the fridge, okay? This is a tray back here that you see full of ice at the moment with a drain, at least one drain, I think there's just one, in the center. So the water is supposed to accumulate by dripping off the coils here, right? When there's actually a heater mechanism right up here that heats up, defrosts the coils. The water drips down into the tray and then into the drain and then down through that tube I showed you at the bottom of the refrigerator. So that's not happening. So we'll get this completely defrosted. We're then going to employ some strategies to try to have this not happen again. Frankly, these fridges are of poor design. If you look at the number of YouTube videos on this, like everybody winds up having this problem over time, which is it manufactured insanity? So you have to go buy another fridge? Well, I'm not going to say, but I can't help but think those thoughts myself. I think that manufacturers it would be pretty simple, right? We've been making fridges for, since the 100 years, since the 1920s, right? Surely to God you can make one that doesn't do this ever. But, they all seem to do it. You can literally find 10,000 videos on this. So we're going to try to do something a little different to hopefully ensure that this one never does this again. That's going to be the goal. That'll be the dream. So next step, and I'm not going to bore you with it, is I'm going to get all that ice out of there and defrost this thing, and I'll bring you back when we can see the drain. Okay? Okay, guys, we've now got the fridge pretty much defrosted, at least for the visible ice out on the top. But I want you to see where the drain is here. And if you can pick it up, I'll use the flashlight here so you can get a little bit closer to it. But yeah, it's right there, okay? And that actually is still frozen solid. So although we've got the ice all out of the drip tray here, we still have quite a bit of defrosting yet to go. But I wanted to show you what the drip tray looked like, with the ice out of it, because if you recall, it was completely up to about here with ice before. I can't get my finger into that hole at all. So I think what we're going to do is I've got some really coarse salts, some So I'll put some really coarse salt there, maybe a teaspoon of it to help go and thaw that out a little bit quicker. And then what we're going to do, because this is actually my second or third time actually doing this job, and it actually always lasts for a while, and then eventually it freezes solid again. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to make really sure that this hole, once we have it all defrosted, is draining down into the pipe, which I've done before and still had the problem come back. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to do that, but we're going to do something additional. So you'll notice that around the perimeter here, right here, this black perimeter coil, that's actually the heating element for the defrost. Okay, so the purpose of that is actually to heat these coils up. They're made of aluminum, so they actually heat transfer really easily off of this heating element. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap some copper wire around this to go and actually go into this hole, so to see if that'll actually help us keep the hole defrosted. So rightly or wrongly, we're going to give that a shot. Worst case, we blow up the heating element, but I don't think we will, because at the end of the day, that's insulated, so I don't think it should be any real issue at all to do that. And yeah, so we're going to get a little bit of copper and do that once this thing has defrosted. So that'll be the next step, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, guys, we're back at it working on the refrigerator. Again, the whole issue here is that this thing was draining water into the bottom of the fridge when it was defrosting the freezer portion. So that's what we're fixing up. We've given it about, I'd say an hour and a half or 90 minutes, something like that, to get the drain hole right here to finally drain of ice. And we've tested it by going and putting water down it using this device here, which is essentially sort of an advanced turkey baster, if you will. I think this was used for a painting project or something. I can't remember. I found it up in my workshop. We just use this and put water down here, hot water. Water down there. With this until water was dripping out the bottom using hot boiling water, and that kind of freed it up and got it going good. So but in terms of this, I think I mentioned before, this is about my third time doing this process, and despite completely defrosting it and doing this job, getting the line completely clear, etc., both at the top and the bottom, this thing was still having an issue where it would actually freeze up. So what I've done this time, and rightly or wrongly, and this is a bit of an experiment, I'll let you know how it goes, but I've put copper wire around the heater coil. This is the heater coil here, this black heater coil. You can kind of see it goes around here, right, all the way around up to here. And so basically it's offset on these aluminum tabs, and there's an aluminum tray here. So what I've done is I've supplemented that by taking some heavy gauge copper wire. You may not really see it in the picture here, but this is heavy gauge copper wire. Pretty much takes pliers to bend it. I can bend it a bit, but short pieces you'd need some pliers to bend it, and have kind of looped it crudely around there, purposely touching the tray, and more importantly actually going down into that hole probably about 5 inches or more. Okay, and now this could prove to be fatal. Maybe I'll blow up this thing because we're on the element here, but I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because it's already touching the aluminum tray here, and I know this is copper, not aluminum, but at the same time it's just going into plastic tubing, touching an aluminum tray. So there's nothing to really ground this out that I can tell. We'll find out. Maybe I'll just burn this element out, and then then we'll find out. But I'm willing to try it, and that's what I'm going to go do. So I'm purposely not going to post this video because I don't want anybody else doing this if I happen to blow something up, until the thing has been running reliably for at least 3 months or more. And then if it does seem to work, then I will post the video. So if you're seeing this, it means that it's March of 2023. So you're probably seeing it at least 3 months after that, because I want to make sure that I'm not putting out, information that's going to do any harm to your fridge or freezer or you. So this is my own little experiment. We're going to see how it goes. So I think it should work. That's why I'm trying it, and we will find out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to plug her back in now and button her back up, and that'll be that. I think just in case somebody wants to know how to put one of these things together, I think I will film putting it back together, but it's really just the reverse of taking it out, and it's really not that hard, but we'll film it anyways. Okay guys, we're just putting the fridge back together. So the way you do this is you tip this thing down this way in. It slots into a hole back down here, and then you carefully go and slide the wires through over on this side, and then just tip it back up into position. So that's essentially it. Now we're doing this with the fridge on, but I would recommend you do it with the fridge off. I'm doing it because I'm doing it late at night and I want the light on there and for myself, but probably the right way to do this would be with it in the off position. So grab our trusty bits and pieces here, and if you recall I put them in here. So we're just going to start screwing a few things in. Okay, and then we have the ice cube tray that needs, or ice cube maker I should say, that needs to go in. Oh, it's full of water. It's full of water. Let me just dump her out in the sink here before we mess it up. Oh yeah, okay. Alright, and this is one of the harder things to get in. So you'll see that there are 2 screws to put in here, and what makes it hard is simply because it's in there like that, and you have to blindly find this one. Okay, that one there is blind. So it's not that it can't be done, it's just, it's persnickety and hard. You may have to crawl up inside there to kind of do it. But yeah, there is that. Now before you do anything, I'm going to go and plug the wires in, just because I think that's the easiest way to do this. Now again, I would recommend doing this with the power off, but we're going to do it with the power on. So the ground wire goes on the side of the unit there. Okay, and nut driver. Okay, nut driver. Put the first one in, it's relatively easy. Let's move this one back here. Relatively easy does not mean to say easy. Oh, you know what? I think I need to get a chair for this job. Okay, to get the ice dispenser up, we first put in the couple of screws just gently, and then it can get hung up in there. So we try to just get this up in through there. There's one on, there's the other one on. Good, just like that. And then there's a second one for mounting it securely that goes in on the side. Okay guys, we have the ice cube tray back in, hung on the 2 hangers here. Now we just have to put one more screw back in. So the easiest way I found to do that was to hang it off the back one first, then hang it off of the second one, and then of course finally to secure it in position with the final screws. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we found worked pretty well. So there we go, that's back in there. Now we just have to put the other tray back in, and the shelf. So yeah, so then a shelf goes back in here. So this goes in like this. It kind of goes in one side and then the other side. It's a bit funky, but that's how this thing works. Kind of get it down to where you want it. And the other side has to go in first. It's always a little bit funky, this thing. Okay. Yeah. It's just tight. Actually, hang on. Why is everything so hard? Okay. There we go. And it goes in like that. Okay. Simple stuff. Simple stuff. So that's basically it. We got her back together again. So yeah, don't mind you watching me fumble around here a little bit. Kind of makes it look more real, I guess. Frankly, the hardest part of this whole thing, I think, is getting that darn ice cube tray back in. But I think most of these fridges do not have that, so hopefully you don't have to deal with that. The actual rest of the process of taking it all apart, actually even taking the ice cube maker out isn't a problem. Getting it back in and lined up with the filler tube and that sort of thing is a little bit of a challenge. But hey, what's life without a bit of a challenge? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you wouldn't mind, please do like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. So yeah, check out some of the other videos. I'll do lots of other videos on different things, mostly things with motors, not appliances. But anyways, hope everybody's having a really good day, and bye for now.